In the early 2000s, shark cage diving was booming. On coastlines stretching from South Africa to Australia to Mexico, tourists flocked to the water, paying thousands for the chance to descend into steel cages and lock eyes with the ocean's most feared predator, the great white shark. It was advertised as the ultimate thrill, safe, controlled, unforgettable. But beneath the surface of that growing industry, some whispered of dangers that went far beyond the sharks. This is the story of one man, a dive operator whose tours left behind a trail of vanished divers, unanswered questions, and a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. Some call him a pioneer of shark tourism. Others call him a murderer who found a way to kill without leaving evidence. His name was Daniel Reese. By 2002, cage diving was no longer a fringe activity. Television shows and documentaries had turned shark encounters into an industry. Operators competed fiercely, promising tourists closer and closer experiences with great whites. Reese, originally from Perth, Australia, was one of the most ambitious of them all. Charismatic, good-looking, and with a salesman's charm, he launched Blue Depth expeditions in 2003 off the rugged coast of Port Lincoln, South Australia, one of the most shark-infested waters on Earth. Tourists adored him. He gave rousing safety speeches before every trip, cracked jokes, and seemed to have a magnetic confidence that reassured nervous first-timers. But behind the charm, Reese was under immense pressure. His business was drowning in debt. Insurance payouts from so-called accidents at sea had a way of keeping him afloat. In October 2004, a tourist from Germany named Thomas Keller boarded Reese's boat. By all accounts, he was ecstatic. He had saved for years for the chance to see a great white up close. That afternoon, Keller descended into the steel cage. Minutes later, chaos erupted. Crew members shouted as a large shark rammed the bars. According to Reese's report, the cage door had not been fully latched. In the frenzy, the shark forced its way inside. When the cage was lifted back to the surface, it was empty. No diver, no body. Authorities chalked it up as a tragic accident, an unavoidable risk of interacting with wild predators. But Keller's family claimed Reese's story didn't add up. Thomas had been a strong swimmer, and safety protocols required crew members to double-check every latch before descent. Still, with no body and no evidence, the case was closed. Over the next 4 years, 5 more divers vanished on Reese's tours. In 2005, Claire and Matthew Jennings, a honeymooning couple from New Zealand, disappeared after entering a cage that once again failed under pressure from a shark. In 2006, a South African journalist named David Makona vanished while investigating safety violations in the cage diving industry. In 2007, a young backpacker from Canada, Rachel Moore, was declared missing after panicking inside the cage and reportedly slipping free of her harness, though other divers insisted she was calm and excited moments before entering the water. And in 2008, another tragedy struck. A university student from Japan, Kenji Tanaka, was pulled under in circumstances eerily similar to the earlier cases. Each time, the official story was the same: tragic accident. Each time, Reese filed insurance claims, settled disputes quietly with families, and carried on. And each time, no bodies were ever recovered. By 2009, whispers were spreading among rival operators. 2 former employees of Reese's company, speaking anonymously, later claimed they had seen him deliberately leave cage latches unsecured before dives. One crew member described a chilling encounter. He said, "He'd look me in the eye and say, 'Don't worry about the door. If something happens, it's the ocean's fault, not ours.' It didn't sit right with me, but when I brought it up, he threatened to fire me on the spot." Another alleged that Reese had a fascination with the idea of sharks as executioners. He told a colleague once, half joking, "There's no cleaner way to erase a person. The ocean swallows everything." Despite these accusations, no charges were ever brought. Maritime authorities insisted there was no hard evidence of negligence or foul play. Shark attacks, they argued, were unpredictable by nature, but families of the victims weren't convinced. Some pooled their resources to hire private investigators. What they found was disturbing. Safety logs from Blue Depth expeditions had gone missing. Maintenance records for the cages were altered, dates changed, signatures forged, and in several cases, Reese himself had signed off on faulty equipment just days before divers vanished. One investigator claimed Reese had also taken out personal insurance policies on his business that specifically covered liability in the event of shark-related deaths. The payouts, while not enormous, were enough to keep his company afloat through years of dwindling profits. By 2010, the case against Reese was largely circumstantial, but the weight of suspicion was impossible to ignore. And then, just as momentum was building, Reese himself disappeared. On July 18, 2010, Blue Depth Expeditions launched another dive trip, this time with Reese as the lead guide. At some point during the dive, he entered the water with a cage of tourists. Minutes later, the cage was pulled back to the surface. Reese was gone. No splashes, no blood, no trace. His crew insisted he had been dragged under by a massive shark. But to this day, some believe his disappearance was staged, a way to escape mounting scrutiny, debts, and possibly even the beginning of a criminal case. Others suspect it was retribution. A victim's family member, a disgruntled employee, or even a rival operator could have sabotaged him, giving him the same fate he allegedly dealt to others. The truth has never been uncovered. The ocean leaves no evidence, and Daniel Reese has never been seen again. What remains are the victims' names: Thomas Keller, Claire and Matthew Jennings, David Makona, Rachel Moore, Kenji Tanaka. Their families never saw justice, never recovered bodies, never received closure. Did Daniel Reese mastermind a string of murders, using sharks as his silent accomplices? Or was he merely the face of a dangerous industry where accidents were inevitable? The case of the so-called shark cage murders remains one of the ocean's darkest mysteries. And like the depths themselves, it may never give up its secrets.